Hello and welcome to your English news broadcast live on ERi-TV. It's exactly 10:30 p.m. on Eritrea's local Greenwich from our headquarters at Asmara with your domestic and international news in brief. I'm Zahra Badouri, but first we'll begin with your major headlines for this hour. Messages of congratulations to President Isaias Afwerki. Announcement from the Ministry of Health. And on your international, Israel closes Gaza border crossing again, halting and deliveries. No new fossil fuel project if world to reach net zero emission by 2050, as reports come from the IEA. Welcome to your domestic in brief. President Xi Jinping of the People's Republic of China, President Frank-Walter Steinmeier of the Federal Republic of Germany, Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha of the Kingdom of Thailand, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, as well as King Mohammed VI of Morocco, sent messages of congratulations to the people and government of Eritrea in connection with the 30th Independence Day anniversary. Wishing good health to President Isaias Afwerki and peace and prosperity to the Eritrean people, the leaders expressed the paramount importance of the international cooperation at this time in which the COVID-19 pandemic continues to present unprecedented global challenge. The leaders also expressed their country's readiness to develop friendly relations and mutual cooperation with Eritrea. In his message, President Xi Jinping of the People's Republic of China said that China and Eritrea have developed good friendship and partnership and shared mutual trust and support each other on issues concerning their respective core interests and concerns. President Xi Jinping also expressed his country's readiness to work for comprehensively strengthening cooperation between the two countries in various fields. Preceding 8 patients have been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 in tests carried out today at quarantine centers in Asab, 4 people, Te'o, 2 people in the southern Red Sea region, and Barantu, 1, Tessene, 1 in the Gashbarka region, as your health report. The total number of recovered cases, confirmed cases in the country to date has accordingly risen to 3,887. The total number of recovered patients to date stands at 3,700, while the number of deaths still stands at 14. Ministry of Health, Asmara, 19 May 2021. The documents from the Cartography and Information Center indicated that in the past 30 years of independence, 785 big and small dams have been constructed that have significantly contributed in alleviating water problems, both to human and livestock. According to Mr. Getachew Metai, on head of the Cartography and Information Center, the dams included 557 dams that could hold more than 10 to 100,000 cubic meters of water, 198 dams that could hold from 100,000 to 1 million cubic meters of water, and 30 dams that could hold from 1 to 330 million cubic meters of water. Mr. Getachew went on to say that some of the big dams that have been constructed in the past 30 years of independence include Karkabet Dam that could hold 330 million cubic meters of water, Gahtelai Dam, 50 million cubic meters of water, Misalam Dam, 35 million cubic meters of water, Logo Dam, 31 million cubic meters of water, Garset Dam, 20 million cubic meters of water, Fanko Dam, 20 cubic meters of water, Fanko Tsumo, 14 million cubic meters of water, and Damit Dam, 17 million cubic meters of water. Regarding small dams and micro dams, Mr. Getachew said that 164 small and micro dams have been constructed in Ansaba region, 338 in the southern region, 145 in Gashbarka, 115 in the central region, 23 in the northern Red Sea region, and as a result, from 85 to 90% of nationals residing in cities and towns, and 75% of nationals in rural areas have become beneficiaries of potable water supply. Mr. Getachew further noted that strong experiences has been gained in the construction of dams, supplying of raw materials, as well as in developing human capacity in various levels, and that will have significant contribution in the future national development programs. On your final domestic, the Ministry of Health branch in the southern region reported that in the past 30 years of independence, over 193 million nakfa have been invested for putting in place health facilities as well as for the introduction of modern medical equipment, indicating that before independence there were 2 hospitals, 3 health stations, and 22 health stations providing limited health services to the public. Dr. Manuel Mehratab, head of the branch office in the region, said that currently there are 7 hospitals, 9 health centers, 42 health stations, and 2 maternity and child clinics providing commendable health services to the public. Regarding human resources, Dr. Manuel said that the number of medical professionals has increased by 500%, health practitioners by 330%, nurses by 237%, assistant nurses by 330%, laboratory technicians by 1,125%, pharmacists by 700%, X-ray technicians by 525%, public health professionals by 478%, and dentists by 1,450%. Dr. Manuel went on to say that alongside providing health services, the health facilities in the region have significantly contributed in raising the awareness of the public on health issues and in the reduction of the prevalence of communicable diseases. The Fistula Treatment Center in Mandafara is also providing commendable services to fistula patients coming from all over the country. The health facilities are also providing prize-worthy pre- and postnatal treatment, and pregnant women delivering at health facilities has increased by 317%, Dr. Manuel added. Regarding control of diseases that have been the main cause of death and disability, Dr. Emanuel said that over 1.5 million impregnated bed nets have been distributed to the public, and vaccination programs, especially to mothers and children, have been conducted against various diseases. Up next with your international news, do stay with us for more. And on your global report, Israel says its soldiers were injured in a mortar attack while aid trucks were closing the Kerem Shalom border into Gaza. A convoy of international aid trucks that started rolling into Gaza through Karim Abu Salam, a border crossing with Israel, was stopped on Tuesday when Israel closed the crossing, citing a mortar attack in the area. The move on Tuesday came shortly after the Israeli coordinator of government activities in the territories announced the temporary opening of the border crossing from the delivery of aid. The Kogat said in the statement later that the border crossing was closed after an Israeli soldier was slightly injured in the attack. Earlier, Carol Shankenberry said the media advisor for the Middle East at the Nargwin Refugee Council told Al Jazeera that Gaza would be suffocated if the Karam Abu Salim and Beit Hanun crossings were kept shut. Canberry said that it is absolutely essential that the crossings are open and that these people don't just need essential items, they now need vital humanitarian assistance. And Israel needs to give assurance that these items will be given safe passage along with the humanitarian corridors and ceasefire so that the workers could get into could get in and access the need of the people. On Tuesday, the United Nations Aid Agency said more than 52,000 Palestinians have now been displaced by Israeli airstrikes that have destroyed or deadly damaged nearly 450 buildings in the Gaza Strip. About 47,000 of the displaced people have sought shelter in 58 UN-run schools in Gaza. Jen Clary, a spokesman for the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Geneva, told reporters that Larkis, as he reported that 132 buildings were destroyed and 316 were severely damaged, including 6 hospitals and 9 primary health care centers, as well as a desalination plant, affecting access to drinking water for about 250,000 people. On your final report, investigators should not fund new oil, gas, and coral supply projects if the world wants to reach the net zero emission by mid-century, the International Emergency Agency said on Tuesday on the top global watchdog strikest warning yet to curb fossil fuels. Any abrupt halt for new oil and gas projects by next year still appears unlikely. However, as energy major spendings plans still to tilt heavily towards hydrocarbons and oil carbons plans new lacing rounds. Faith Barrell, the IEA's executive director, told Reuters that the pathway to net zero is narrow but still achievable. If we want to reach net zero by 2050, we do not need any more investment in new oil, he said, as gas and oil projects increase. It is up to investors to choose whatever portfolio they prefer, but they are at risk and rewards. He quotes. The 2015 Paris Agreement on Climate Change aims to cap the rise in temperature to also close a possible to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial times to avoid the most devastating impact of climate change, which requires net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2050. The number of countries which have pledged to reach net zero has grown, but even if their commitments are fully achieved, they will still stand to be 22 billion tons of carbon dioxide worldwide in 2050, which would lead to temperature rise of around 2.1 degrees Celsius by the year 2100, the IEA said in its net zero by 2050 report. Dear viewers, that is all for now with your domestic and international news in brief. Until we are back with some more news, we will leave you with the rest of our programs, but these were your major headlines for this broadcast. Messages of congratulations to President Isaias Afwerki. An announcement from the Ministry of Health, and more on your domestic. And on the international, Israel closes Gaza border crossing, again halting aid deliveries. And on your final report, no new fossil fuel project if world reaches net zero emission by 2050, warns the IEA.